All right, we turn now to the NFL and the vilification of Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. He recently tested positive for COVID-19. By the way, we do wish him a speedy recovery. In August, he told reporters that he was immunized, but Rodgers was never actually vaccinated for COVID-19. And now, as Rodgers himself put it, he is in the crosshair of the woke mob. Earlier today, the Packers star quarterback took responsibility for any misleading remarks. Here's what he said.
I understand that people are suffering, and this has been a really difficult time for the last 2 years on so many people. And I also know how sports can be such a connector and bring people together in times of adversity. And I do realize that I am a role model to a lot of people. And so I just want to start off the show by acknowledging that, you know, I made some comments that people might have felt were misleading. And you know, to anybody who felt misled by those comments, I take full responsibility for those comments.
All right, here with reaction, the host of Unfiltered, Dan Bongino, and correspondent at large, Geraldo Rivera. You know, I think, Geraldo, the issue of vaxxed and unvaxxed, that debate is over. Everybody's made up their mind. I don't think you're going to convince many people on that issue. You see now military, nurses, cops, firemen, first responders, they're willing to leave their jobs, abandon their salary, benefits, and pensions because of what they believe in. The question to me is, why, if we're going to follow science and we want to be safe, why is there no attempt at all to accommodate, especially nurses that were diving on COVID grenades every day, those people that might have natural immunity, a rare medical condition, or a different point of view? Why can't we accommodate them and keep the workplace safe and give the option of being tested? Why are we giving up all medical privacy, freedom, and doctor-patient confidentiality in this country, Geraldo? That's a high price.
You know, Sean, Aaron Rodgers, Shailene Woodley, one of my favorite couples. He's a terrific football player. He's a great personality, MVP. But he may have cost his team the Super Bowl last Sunday against Kansas City Chiefs. They lost, the Green Bay Packers lost 13-7 because he could not play, because he was positive and had lied to his teammates, lied to the city of Green Bay, lied to the people of this country about his status. And Sean, I think that just because he's popular, just because, and I don't want to join any mob.
Geraldo,
I'm not in any mob.
You're not answering my question.
I'm not in any mob. This guy did not tell the truth to people that he loved.
Are we now giving up?
Let me finish, Sean.
But wait a minute. Are we giving up all medical privacy, all doctor-patient confidentiality, and all freedom? Whether you agree or disagree.
I think that you cannot have a right of privacy, that I'm in your room with my grandchildren who are not vaccinated because they're too young, and you lied about your vaccine status and you sneeze on my grandchildren. You know, that could be a crime. That is absolutely so selfish and self-involved. And it, you know, I look at Aaron Rodgers and he's so charming. And again, I say I'm a big fan of his. He's a very, very agreeable, charismatic person. And he married a great actress. And I wish them all the best.
Let's go to Dan and get Dan's point of view.
And his apology was a bunch of baloney. I regret that, if you think this way and that way. You know, he didn't say I'm sorry.
So you're not going to accept his apology?
Lied.
Okay, fair enough. You don't have to. Dan Bongino.
That wasn't an apology.
Now, he doesn't owe anybody an apology. Aaron Rodgers doesn't owe Geraldo or anyone else jack squat. Aaron Rodgers was given his body by God. He is ward of his own body. Whether he chooses to disclose his immunization status or not isn't Geraldo or anyone else's business. And the other point here about you don't have a right to privacy if you sneeze around someone. Really? I mean, so we're throwing the Constitution out the window for a virus with a survivability rate of between 98 and 99%? I mean, I really, if that isn't the road to tyranny, I don't know what is. I mean, are you going to apply the same tactic to people who are infected with tuberculosis? I mean, what about HIV? You know, it's interesting. Are you going to ban them from sexual contact, from intravenous drug use? What about tuberculosis? Are they not going to be allowed to breathe in public? You know, you see how these simpleton views of how privacy and the Constitution, by the way, which is not a suggestion, the Constitution is not a suggestion. It's our founding document. You see how that all gets thrown out the window when we go down this slippery slope? And it's all based on nonsense. They'll throw out the 1905 Jacobson case, which was a case based on smallpox in Massachusetts and the equivalent of a $125 fine. It's nothing to do with coronavirus and you losing your livelihood. It's all nonsense.
There have been 3 Supreme Court cases already that gave the government the right to mandate in Maine, in Indiana, and in New York. The Supreme Court will soon deal with this Fifth Circuit case and will even it all out. Mandates are constitutional.
The mandate,
you do not have the right to
Geraldo, we don't know that yet. The Fifth Circuit, as they're saying, we will find out. But here's my question. There's got to be a way, if I'm right, if the premise of my question is right, that everybody's decided. People have made a decision, especially when we're firing nurses that worked in a petri dish for 2 years at the worst moments of this pandemic, many of whom got COVID, and they believe in natural immunity. There's some disagreement on some of these issues. Where is the flexibility? Why is there a rigidness? You must get the vaccine or you're fired. How about vaccine, or would you agree to be tested so people don't lose their salary, their benefits, and their pension? Why is there only one size fits all medicine here?
You know, Sean, in January, I lost a beloved nephew, Bobby Reed, to this disease. He left his wife, Michelle,
It's horrible.
and his children, Tyler and Casey, who lost to this awful disease that has already claimed 750,000 American lives.
Can we meet in the middle
worldwide.
And find an accommodation?
At what point? No,
or not?
There is no accommodation. I despise, let me be very frank, I despise vaccinated people who are smug in their protection, who urge unvaccinated people to exercise their freedoms.
What if they get tested every day? You're not even if they got tested every day, that's not good enough for you.
It's like the guy in the street who's telling the guy on the ledge to jump.
All right, last word, Dan Bongino.
Yeah, it's interesting. Geraldo, he despises these people, yet he doesn't know them. Like, I spoke to a guy who was fired by a company I work for who has a serious problem with blood clots, whose doctor told him if he gets the vaccination, he could be in serious medical trouble. Geraldo doesn't have a medical degree, doesn't know, but he despises the guy he hasn't even met, and he paints that as a reasonable, rational decision. Geraldo hasn't met these people he despises, yet he despises them. Here's the thing. I don't despise anyone. I respect your individuality and your ability to make your own decision with your doctor.
You have no individual rights when it comes to the vaccine. You have no.
All right.
Well, that's what tyrants say all the time.
You have no individual rights when it comes to the vaccine. You have no.
All right.
Well, that's what tyrants say all the time.
Geraldo is basically suggesting that a lawsuit could and should be filed if any unvaccinated person dares to sneeze in the presence of someone else, which is patently insane for at least a couple of reasons. For example, despite a high survival rate, so-called experts and pundits say that we should mandate based upon exceptions. Well, since there are also exceptions in regards to vaccinated people contracting and spreading COVID, should even a vaccinated person be sued if they dare to sneeze in the presence of someone else? Or should we pretend that there aren't exceptions all across the field and continue moving the goalpost? I mean, are all sneezes lawsuit worthy, or just the sneezes of the infected? If it's the sneezes of anyone in general, whether infected or uninfected, well, some form of assumed threat must be applied. The problem then being that literally anyone can assume anyone else to be a threat for any reason whatsoever. If it's only the sneezes of the infected, well, anyone can be infected, and therefore anyone who is infected can be sued, I guess. In addition to all of that nonsense, regardless of whether we assume or know someone else to be infected, if they're infected, it's safe to assume that someone else infected them. So, shouldn't even the sued sneezer turn around and then sue the previous infector? For one reason or another, which would obviously turn into a never-ending cycle of nonsensical lawsuits. Oh, wait. If sneezes are the ultimate deal breaker, does someone like Geraldo suddenly cease to despise me if I don't sneeze around anyone? Of course not. Sneeze is merely a buzzword. Geraldo despises me on account of me daring to breathe my unvaccinated breath into the atmosphere, which makes him a fear-mongering villainizer if I've never even been infected, yet automatically makes me the victim according to his own illogic, if I indeed have been infected. Are you confused enough yet? Listen, such nonsensical notions aren't where my logic leads. That's all on the likes of Geraldo Rivera, who is apparently incapable of recognizing that exchanging medical freedom for medical tyranny leads to a never-ending cycle of arbitrary acts of mandatory manipulation. Shots fired. My conclusion is that Geraldo is either virtue signaling or outright advocating for authoritarianism